This episode is brought to you by Generate Solutions, your go-to AI experts specializing in empowering commercial real estate companies and environmental consulting firms. As AI is quickly transforming industries and enhancing efficiency, it is important you don't let your business fall behind. At Generate Solutions, we streamline workflows and automate tasks by creating custom AI agents tailored specifically to your business needs. Interested in taking your operations to the next level with AI? Email mfiorante@generatesolutions.com or find us directly on LinkedIn by clicking the link in the bio. On to our episode.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of A Conversation with John Conenna. Today, it brings me great pleasure because our guest has been on here before, and it's about a great book that she wrote and just got an award. And I want to say the date was back in June that she won the award for the Catholic Pilgrimage. On this book, just fantastic. We're talking today about Dr. Carla Knorowski, who was on here on our show in February when the book came out, and then got the news from her about 2-3 weeks ago of what had happened, and been trying to get her on, and it's worked out really well. I want you to know that Dr. Knorowski is a senior advancement advisor at the Henry Ford in Dearborn, Michigan. She also serves on the board of directors of Friends of Notre Dame de Paris. Okay, and of course, a member and former director of the Society of Midland Authors. Her book includes the Gettysburg Replies, the world response to Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, Lions Press, and Under Lincoln's Hat, 100 Jobs that tell the story of the life of his legacy, which she co-authored with. But again, today we are going to go back because she won this prestigious award on this beautiful book that we had talked about in February, Blessing My Mother's Rosary, Lourdes, Loss and Love, Dr. Carla Knorowski. And Carla, how you doing? And you got to be just in heaven about this one.
Well, thank you. It's so great to see you again, John, and it's great to be back, and happy holidays. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it goes by quick, as you know, right?
It does. It does. And I was very surprised and grateful to receive this award from the Catholic Media Association. You know, they have like 600 members around the world. And so it's really exciting to be recognized by my peers,
Right.
you know, because this doesn't happen every day. And
Sure.
I think what was also, I think one of the reasons why it received the award of, I think it was Best Pilgrimage or Travel Book for 2025.
Right.
And I know you and I love travel.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, right.
I think it's a very inspirational book, and so I've been told by many people who've bought it, that it's inspirational, that it's helped them relating to grief, but that it's also fun, and that it reminded them of a lot of trips that they've taken, and
God, yes.
you know, the whole adventure about traveling. And so I think that's why. And then for those also, I should say, for those who've ever done a pilgrimage, and you don't have to be some, you know, famous person or whatever to take a pilgrimage, and you don't have to be Catholic. The book has appealed to people of all faiths, and actually to people of no faiths, you know. But, you know, so it's all about travel, and I think it's just really inspired and uplifted people. And right now, I think people can use being inspired and being uplifted.
Oh, yes, I tell you, from the time I talked to you in February to now, I don't know. That is great the way you put it out there. We need to be inspired. And well, I have to ask you two things, and I want to tell our audience this award of the Best Travel Pilgrimage Book for the 2020 is from the Catholic Media Association, correct? When we say it that way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, receiving that had to be something. How is the book done? Because when I received the book from you back last February, um, how's it done since it came out to now? I mean, how is it done in your eyes and or what you've heard and what's going on?
Well, my publisher is pleased and I'm pleased. It's such a, from what I've been told, it's just not my opinion, because obviously my opinion of my own work is probably a
Sure.
little a little biased. But well, what people have said is that it's a beautiful story, and that it's a quick read, it's an easy read, and that people are just taken by it. And it's very rewarding when people you don't even know who've read it come to you or say, in communication with you, how touched and moved they were by the book, and how
Oh,
it
sure.
reminded them of either a family member of theirs or a trip they've taken or things they've done. So, and I know that when we last talked back in February, of course, you were bringing up a lot of the Chicago references. So for people living in Chicago, there are a lot of Chicago references as well, uh,
Yes.
from, you know, WGN and
Oh,
Wally Phillips, and,
yeah, your
just
mom winning that
yeah,
award, the
a
prize, and that.
car, and yeah, yeah. So it's also fun for people who've lived in the Chicago area.
As you know, me owning the travel agency with my family for so many years, my dad opened this up in 1948 to now, and it's always been a big Europe. It's been based more on this European, even though we do trips to Mexico and things like that. I have to ask you, what was it like? Yeah, and this is something I didn't to going to Lourdes when you did travel there. I mean, that was now when you look back at it, the book and everything. I mean, I just feel like this whole thing stays fresh in your head.
Well, it does. I mean, for a couple reasons. And as the book will detail, I grew up with, my mother talking about Lourdes. We watched the film, The Song of Bernadette, which, when it came out, it was up for the Academy Award. So there were a lot of reasons why so many people watched the film. And then, of course, the movie, I mean, the book, The Song of Bernadette, that the movie was based upon, that was a New York Times bestseller. Oh, if my book could be a New York Times bestseller, but
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
that's so hard to for that to happen. But in any case, it really was something that I grew up with. So when my mother asked me if I could get her rosary blessed at Lourdes, it was a little surprising on the one hand, because Lourdes is such off the beaten path in Europe. It's in France, but it's not like right outside Paris or right outside Lyon or
Right.
something like that. And so, it's not readily accessible. And so I thought, well, that'll make it an adventure. And you and I know that one of the great things about travel is the journey, not just the destination, but the journey. And
The
I thought,
journey.
yeah, how interesting will it be to try to get there first? Just try to
Right.
get there.
Sure.
And then once I get there, get it blessed for my mother. I mean, I would love to do that. And let's see what it's all about. So it was a real adventure, and I would do it all over again. I mean, it's one thing when all the big places to go to, but when somebody like throws down the gauntlet and says, "Hey, why don't you go somewhere off the beaten path? And here's a place I would love for you to go." I was like, "Okay, Mom, I'm doing it," and it was so rewarding.
And I got to tell you, just in this last year, people are coming up to me all the time and saying, especially one of my biggest things for travel is Italy. And they'll say, "Oh, John, Google Translate is the best." Well, I have to say, Carla Knorowski, back then didn't have Google Translate. So did you know anything about French then? Because that's daunting in itself.
No, see, you're absolutely right. I mean, now from what I've understood, there's now something like earbuds that you could put in your ears where as someone is speaking to you in another language, it'll translate into your ears
Oh my
while they're
God.
speaking. Well, when this story took place, you're absolutely right. There was no translator at all. All you had was a French dictionary. And you'd sit and say, well, I think I heard that word before, or let me look up what that word means. And yet, what I'd like to say, even now with all the technology, there's nothing to fear when you travel, no matter what country you go to. You're going to find someone typically who speaks English. And even if you don't, the proverbial hand signals and pointing, and,
Yes, yes.
people know what you mean. Now, I had, in the story of blessing my mother's rosary, there are some funny stories that we came across when we could not translate. What do they mean? Like, what are they telling us to do and everything? And it actually lent itself to some really funny, memorable moments in my travel history. So I kind of miss not having that technology, now everyone has the technology. It was kind of fun when we didn't have it and we had to kind of wing it,
Yeah.
and now you don't have to wing it. So any of your listeners who are still kind of reluctant to go travel to an overseas destination because of language, they should just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, you bring up a point, and I like the way you said it. I remember somebody called my dad in 1980, 81. And I think we're talking about that timeline. I'll never forget. He would have all these maps out, and he'd
Yes.
be okay. And it would take him 2, 3 days to get back to the Knorowski family. He would say, "Here's me. I just Google it. Oh yeah, it's 5 miles from here. There's a restaurant there. Don't forget, this is the museum here in Rome by the Vatican, the Pantheon." So, I mean, yes, I mean, now I think could you imagine you having that then? It would have been good. What's the point of interest in the book for the traveler that really comes out that at them where you say, hey, I want to read this book, Blessing My Mother's Rosary. What's the biggest point of interest in the travel of this book? Meaning, for that person who's going to go on to read this.
Well, first of all, if they're interested in ever taking a pilgrimage, or just, a pilgrimage doesn't have to be official. A pilgrimage could be you doing something that you've always wanted to do that has inspired you throughout life. For some people, pilgrimages are, I'm going to go to every NFL stadium in the United States. Those are pilgrimages. Pilgrimages do not have to be religious. They could be sacred and spiritual because of where you're going. Like if you say, "Hey, I'm going to go to Soldier Field because I'm a Bears, I love the Bears," or whatever. So the book really captures what it is to take a pilgrimage or to travel to a destination for a real purpose in mind. But it also harkens back, and I don't want to say just harkens back, because people still do this, to a time when you're young and you just decide, hey, I'm going to go explore the world. And as part of that, somebody asks you to go on a
No.
specific journey to a specific spot. And what are the trials and tribulations of traveling, especially by yourself in a foreign land, uh, with a purpose in mind, and you start to find out all the little things that might come up, whether it's finding a room or not finding one, missing a train or not missing one. I mean, it's all these little things where when you're reading it, and this is what a lot of people who've read the book say to me, oh my God, that reminded me of when I went here and all these things happened and it was so rewarding in the end. And so I think people who read it from a travel or a pilgrimage perspective are really going to enjoy it. And in fact, maybe even if they've been fearful or reluctant about taking certain trips, it might inspire them to do it, because there's no better time. I mean, like if you wait too long, You don't know what's going to happen. Is your health going to, or
Right.
financially, maybe financially it's not a good time. So
Sure.
strike while the iron's hot. And when my mother asked me to do this, I thought, wow, this is really off the beaten path. And then I thought, why not?
Why
And
not?
so the book really answers like look what happens when you take a journey that you weren't necessarily going to take. It really tells the story of the payoff of a journey, an unexpected journey.
Yeah. I mean, knowing what you know now and then doing what you did then was fantastic because I like what you said here again. My dad used to say to me, you need to do it today because tomorrow never comes. That
Yeah,
word,
you
tomorrow
made,
never comes. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just
I
like,
mean, my brother used to have a saying on his refrigerator, and it was from Walter Payton,
oh, well,
and it was, nobody promises you tomorrow. And so if you're able to take that trip you've always wanted to do,
sure.
or if a family member's asked you to do something when you're going on a trip, like I was, don't sit there and say, well, now, why are they asking me to do this? I've already got my trip planned. Go do it, because invariably that's the most memorable part of your trip, the part that you had no original plans on doing.
Right, it's spontaneity. Yeah,
The
exactly.
spontaneity, yes.
Spontaneity. I just love that. Question that I didn't ask in the first part. What was the reason mom wanted to get the rosary blessed at Lourdes? Do you remember?
Well, I mean, one of it was because we used to watch the film, and she was very devoted to the Blessed Mother. She would, I mean, she had so many Mary statues around her apartment that one time somebody went in and counted them with me.
Oh,
Wait a
geez.
minute, we missed this one, we missed that one. So I think that was part of the reason.
Right.
But I think my mother, and it was interesting, and some of these stories are in the book about, where the rosary's from and things like that. But I also think that my mother uh, secretly knew that this would be a great adventure for me.
Yeah.
And when parents or anyone, we want our friends and family to have the best experiences they could possibly have. And I
Sure.
think for you, in the travel industry, somebody comes and says, I want to go to Europe, where should I go? You're telling them some of the best things so that when they come back, they're like, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
And I think my mother secretly knew that this would be something that was a real experience for me. And it really was. She knew what she was talking about.
Well, no, and you know what? She probably had that sense of that because it's good. You know what? Yeah, I love what you said because a lot of times people will come back to me and says, "Oh my God, John, we know we got to go to Rome for the Vatican and the Colosseum, but we went to the Pantheon or we went to the Borghese Gardens. We did this, and you recommended that. That only enhances me as the seller to
Right.
the people. Where yeah, you could go on this Google and do this all day long, this little dance you do with your thumbs, but you don't get the real appreciation of what a good Dr. Carla did or what I'm offering to the client. Here's the
Well,
thing
see,
there.
and that is so true, because even people who will go on and rate something on a website, like, oh,
Yeah,
I give this 3 stars or whatever, you're not really connecting with the person as to why it's good or not. And
right.
so whether they're talking to you, whether it's through this book and they start reading about it, all of a sudden they're kind of like, oh, and
Right.
even with the book, I know that there may be people with preconceived notions about what Lourdes is all about or whatever the case may be. But like I said, I mean, there are people who are not Catholic who really enjoyed the book for certain
Sure.
reasons. And I think, it's because I'm telling a story as though I'm sitting there with them.
Exactly.
And and when you sit with them or I sit with them, all of a sudden they get a different appreciation for
Sure.
travel that they would never get if they just looked at a 4-star TripAdvisor rating, which are still good. I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't follow them,
Right.
There's
but
not a connection.
there's that not that connection like what you went through or what I'm doing every day. Exactly. Okay, here's the part that I loved about it is that I understand that you briefly worked at Lourdes. What was that like? I mean, working there. Here's this young girl goes on this backpack trip, can't speak French, and now you wind up even working at Lourdes. Did you ever think you're going to put those two and two together?
No, I didn't. And in fact, I may have mentioned this when we've in our first talk, but Bill Curtis,
Oh,
the broadcasting icon from Chicago, he did a documentary feature on Lourdes, and I happened upon it, and it inspired me. So I went back on a second backpacking trip, and I just showed up. I just showed up at Lourdes, and I said I want to work here. And there were some language issues, but in the end, I worked there, and it was incredible. It was an incredible experience because, um, when you've seen the movie or read the book about, the Song of Bernadette,
you
that
right there. To stop you right there about Bernadette, the song of Bernadette. How many times, and I think I brought it up in the first one, how many times was that on Channel 9 and Family Classics with Fraser Thomas?
oh my God, it was.
I
I
mean,
mean, and we
yeah.
had to watch it every time.
And
We
it
had
came
to
on
watch.
once a year, let's
I
say.
know, and you'd
Yeah,
wait
yeah,
and you'd wait and then you'd watch it. And the
sure.
thing about it is, everybody expects or maybe even balks at, like, oh yeah, did people really drop their canes and their crutches and
Well,
walk and stuff like
yeah,
that? Like, look, you know, whether you believe or not, but that's what the film focused on. But when you work there, it's an entirely different experience
sure,
because everybody's going for a miracle, whether it's overt or secret. They just don't know. And some of the healing takes the form of, hey, you know what? I my parent passed away, and I really can't get over the grief.
sure.
And coming to Lourdes helped me put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Or, I'm not accepting that I have perhaps an illness. And going to Lourdes helps me accept that. Whether I get healed from that illness, maybe not. But what helps heal me is to be able to accept it and then do whatever I need to do to fight it, or healing comes in so many different ways. And it's not just always the physical healing, sometimes it's
Sure.
the mental healing. And so I think that is what I learned by working at Lourdes, because when I was there, they would ask me, go talk to this person who's missing their family member, or go talk to
Yeah,
this person who's just lonely.
right.
So Lourdes really provides so much to so many people in so many different ways. It's not just the I couldn't walk and now I can walk, or something like
Yeah, we're
that.
looking at for that ultimate. I have to tell you, my mom got sick at an early age. She got sick at 61 years old, and she died at 65. She had Lou Gehrig's disease, which
Mm,
originally was motor neuron disease, and of course they called it after the great athlete Lou Gehrig. But I have to tell you, the way you just broke it down, my dad, of course, starts here at Rush in Chicago. Then my dad takes her to Mayo. And then my dad takes her to for baths in Bologna, where they said there was this,
oh,
a healing process of these
yeah,
baths in Bologna, Italy, up north. And then my dad says, if I have to take her to Lourdes for just the comfort and that
yeah,
feeling, I'll never forget him saying it. Because I said to people to this day when they ask, wow, when did your mom die? I says, my dad would have taken my mom to the moon to have cured her, but the way you,
absolutely.
yeah,
I love that you
that's
shared that, and thank you. One of the things when I was working there, they asked me to go talk to another young girl. She was about 15, never was out really able to walk. And so she was always in either a gurney or a wheelchair. And
no,
she was from Ireland. And, you know, when I came back, I was working at a high school at the time, and these high school kids said, they used to call me Miss Carla, and they said, "Hey, Miss Carla, did you see anybody get up and walk?" And I said, "No." And they said, "So you saw no miracles?" I said, "Oh, no, I didn't say I didn't see any miracles." And they said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, I met this young girl who's about your age, and she lived in her house in Ireland, never even like going out the front door. And then one day she decided she wanted to go to Lourdes, and her family was, "Hey, if this is what's going to get you out of the house." And they took her across the ocean from Ireland to Lourdes. And this girl had never been out of her house, and now she crosses an ocean and goes to another nation in the mountains. I said, "Wouldn't you consider that a miracle?" And they said, "Well, actually, yeah." I said, "So, you got to be mindful of all the miracles every day in your life that happen.
Yeah,
Even if it's the Bears are the number one seed in the NFL, you know what I mean?"
Yeah, you had to bring that up.
Well, I can't. I'm a Bears fan, as you can tell.
Me too. And here's me. I'm watching them every Sunday, thinking that they're going to lose, and they keep winning. And now all of a sudden, I mentioned to someone the other day, watch the Bears win the Super Bowl. The way things are going. Besides the travel, and what other themes are addressed in the Blessing My Mother's Rosary?
Certainly the loss of a parent or a loved one. There are psychologists who've read the book who said that it's an outstanding book for those dealing with grief.
Yeah.
There's others who say it's just so incredible. It's inspirational. It's uplifting. It ends on a very high note, and people are just so uplifted by reading it. So certainly dealing with grief, being inspired, traveling, and it does have it does tell the Bernadette story throughout the book. There's a line on
Yeah, it does.
You can't go to Lourdes and not tell the reader what Lourdes is all about. So, so definitely people who want a good family story, want to help maybe better understand how to overcome grief. It's never easy, but grief is a gift if you let it be. And so I think it's a very inspirational book from that standpoint. And a lot of people have been helped by reading it, they say to me.
Right. I can imagine. I love this by the Vanity Fair correspondent, Maureen Orth,
Yes.
who wrote just what you just said, calls it touching and brimming with love. And you really do put that out. And, what a correspondent she's been for Vanity Fair for so many years. So before we go ahead.
Her husband was Tim Russert from NBC.
Okay.
So yeah, the two of them have been great journalists, and
without a doubt. Oh God,
I was very touched that she wrote that.
That she wrote that. I saw that, and I wanted to bring that up. I hope you didn't mind, because I've been a fan of Orth. I love journalists because it's something that I just want you to know. I didn't want to be a travel agent. Maybe I should have went to Lourdes. Become a journalist. I don't know. But anyway, before we tell everybody our surprise, and I just truly appreciate you reaching out to me to come back for this part 2. Where can we get this book? And I want you to know, Carla, I don't know if you know this. This book that's in my hands is the best copy of the book. No one has this copy. I have it because I'll never forget when you got this for me last February. And I want to read a card that you wrote to my audience, to me, on February 19th, 2025. This is what it said. This touched me deeply, and I kept the card. John, my deepest gratitude for having you on your show this last Friday. Here's the book. Please read, but one I hope you find meaningful. Best wishes, Carla. And as soon as I read this, I knew what kind of a class act person you were. And it just brought back the memories of my mother and how she loved Europe and would have loved to have gone to Lourdes, And again, like you said here in this interview today, My mom always said, I want to go to Lourdes. I want to go to, and she never went. And that really touched me today. But let's go back to, even though I have the best copy, let's go back to say, where can
You
we get this book?
Well, you can get it on Amazon, as most books you can get there. So
Okay.
it's available on Amazon in hard copy or hardcover and
Oh,
paperback.
you can
And
get it
then,
in, I think you can get it in hardcover now.
yes, you can get in hardcover. I didn't have it at the time when I saw you.
You're
And
gonna have to
then,
give me one now. I know I'll get one, but I want to get it in hardcover for sure.
and then you can also get it from the publisher, which is ACTA Publications, ACTA Publications.
Okay.
So those are the two ways. And then, of course, we have our surprise. What's our surprise, John?
Okay. So here's the surprise for the audience. We are thrilled that Carla will be joining me on December 20th, right here at the Venus Travel at 7418 West Belmont, December 20th at 9 a.m. in the morning till noon. She will be here at the Venus Travel. She will be doing a signing, a copy, and this is a first in my father's building. So I know my mom and dad are going to be watching from heaven. And perhaps some of our other books right here at the agency, which I would love for you to bring here too. And we are going to promote this here in the next 3 weeks. And again, that's at the Venus Travel, 7418 West Belmont in Chicago. Please come by. Carla will be here to sign. I will be here, and we are going to have some certificates for travel. For the Christmas holiday, if you're interested, by me at the Venus Travel, and you can purchase these gift certificates that same day. But Carla will be here to sign, and Carla will be here to talk, to feed off this interview. Really, truly, the book and the certificates will make it great. Beautiful gift and a stocking stuffer. I have to read something about a guy that I idolized. I said it in the first thing. It was one of the guys that made me go for journalism in college. And here it is. I'm going to read it again. I hope it's not, you're going to say, oh God, he's reading this again. A woman of faith, Dr. Carla Knorowski, has written a deeply felt description of her experience where the real meaning of religion can be found. I'll let her tell you what that miracle is. You want to take the trip yourself. I don't care if I get 1,000 calls on social media. The greatest journalist, the voice, the presence, the walk, because I used to see him walk downtown by Loyola University, the one and only Bill Curtis, who used to come out with Walter Jacobson on Channel 2. Nobody better. We could wait another 100 years to see a journalist like this. He's an Emmy Award, Peabody, an Emmy Award in. Carla, I want to thank you for coming on a conversation with John Conenna today.
Well, thank you again, and it's so great to see you. And the next time I see you will be in person, and we hope to see a lot of your listeners and your travelers to come on out. I will not just sign, but if they want me to inscribe to their loved one for a holiday gift, I'm happy to inscribe the book and make a special inscription for them.
And you're going to bring some of the Lincoln things too, right?
I'll have a few Lincoln on hand as well. Yes.
That'll be great. That'll be great. And if you can bring me a hardcover, let me know how much it is. I'll pay you for the hardcover, because this is how John Conenna works. I use this for my reading and my highlighting, and I use my hardcover for my library, so no one can touch it. You know, even my grandkids, sometimes they want to go by my books, and I'm like, get away from those books. Those are books. They're not to be touched. But I don't win that battle too much. Anyway, great seeing you. Thank you for today.
Great seeing you. We'll see you on the 20th.
You got it. Thank you.
All right.
This will go out on YouTube and Spotify in the coming days. We have visited with a very great lady, Dr. Carla Knorowski, and this great book, Blessing My Mother's Rosary, Lourdes, Loss, Love.
Thank you.
Good day, everyone.
Take care. Bye.